E-bikes have been in the news.
Police investigations are underway to identify dozens of teenage thrill seekers who documented their brazen e-bike spree through Brisbane.
This is a topic that won't go away and everybody is talking about it.
It was here that Jason's 17-year-old son, Hudson, was thrown from the back of an e-bike and killed.
It just keeps happening.
Sydney's Harbour Bridge has been taken over by teenagers riding recklessly.
Hello, welcome to the Happy Families podcast. Last week, about 8 days ago, in fact, I jumped onto Facebook and made a post about the e-bike, e-scooter scourge challenge, difficulty that so many communities are facing. What are we supposed to do about young people on these machines? And let's just say that there was a pretty big response. There are a lot of people with a lot of opinions. And today on the pod, I just want to break that down. I know it's about a week old, but this problem is not going away and it's remaining topical. I wanted to share some more ideas that I've had as I've pondered the challenge more, as well as your ideas. There were so many great comments, so many thoughtful people who really, really shared important ideas. So that's all coming up next as we battle the e-bike, e-scooter scourge in our communities on the Happy Families podcast. Stay with us. Hello, welcome to the Happy Families podcast, where you get real parenting solutions every single day. This is Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. I'm Dr. Justin Colson, here with my wife and mum to our 6 kids, Mrs. Happy Families, Kylie. We've managed to escape this challenge, Kylie. We've got a couple of kids that are the same age as a lot of the girls and boys that are getting around on e-bikes and e-scooters. Not an issue for us, and there's a simple reason that it's not an issue for us.
We don't have one.
We didn't buy one. Yep. Solves the problem.
Makes it easy, doesn't
it really does. Well, it doesn't always make it easy, but it certainly has made it a lot easier for us. Today on the pod, I want to share a couple of ideas that I think are important around this. Now, for those of you who haven't seen it on Facebook, I figured that the best thing that I could do, and I'm so sorry, Kylie, because it means that I'm going to sort of dominate for a sec. I want to read the article that I posted because it really gets to the core of what's going on, and then I'll get your reactions and share what people said on Facebook. Here we go. I said, freedom, yes. Free for all, not so much. Should kids be on e-bikes? Should we legislate to get them off the road? Are they a menace? Or is the whole kids being kids out on bikes generally a good thing that's being abused by a small minority? E-bikes are one of the hottest topics right now. While politicians and the media are getting steamed up about it, this is actually a parenting issue. So let's talk about kids, e-bikes and parenting. I want kids to live big, outdoor, risky, free-range lives. I really do. For years, I've argued against helicopter parenting and I've advocated for more independence. I've been quoted as saying our kids should be outside touching grass and doing at least one thing every week that could land them in hospital. It's provocative, I know, but it's also true. So the last thing that I want to do is clutch my pearls about kids finally getting outside, even if they are on e-bikes. And honestly, part of me celebrates every time I see a group of teenagers racing around on e-bikes instead of slumped over their phones. I'll often shrug and say to Mrs. Happy Families, at least they're outside. They could be on Fortnite or Roblox right now. And Mrs. Happy Families usually gives me a and lets it go. That's about as far as the conversation goes when I bring that up. But somewhere between helicopter parenting and letting kids barrel down footpaths 3 up on unlicensed vehicles doing 45 plus kilometres an hour, we've lost the plot on the intersection of freedom and responsibility. I should also note it's illegal for an e-bike to go faster than 25 k's an hour, but it's not enforced, and I've seen some going over 80. So parents have sort of said, hey, here's a cool toy, go outside, have fun, be independent. The kids have said, game on, party time. But freedom isn't the same as a free-for-all. I'm all for testing your limits, taking risks, pushing boundaries, but I'm not cool with treating pedestrians and road users like NPCs, non-player characters in your favourite video game. Climbing trees, exploring creeks, riding your bike further than you've gone before, that's good risk. It builds capability. But blowing through red lights, weaving through traffic and scattering people on footpaths, that points to the thing parents need to teach kids most. It's what's missing, what it means to be considerate. You can point to immature neurological development. You can talk about a lack of executive function, lack of empathy. That's fine. Throw in social expectations and status games, social media post and boast opportunities and other developmental excuses. But I'm not buying it. And why? Because plenty of kids get it. They ride safely. They do the right thing. They're considerate. And they should not be punished because of the ones who are getting it wrong. But boy, oh boy, there are a lot of kids getting this very wrong. We've got kids doing donuts on the Harbour Bridge. That's not okay. And they're old enough to know better. Actually, a lot of it isn't kids. A lot of it are kids over 18, young adults doing this stuff. Anyway, the real issue is the adults who bought them the bikes, waved them off and assumed that freedom would teach them consideration. It won't. Before I go on, I just want to add, I'm being a little bit glib and dismissive here because I know a lot of parents are tearing their hair out trying to do the right things here. Anyway, what do we do? How do we raise kids who know how to have fun and be considerate, who test their limits without treating everyone else as collateral damage? I'm genuinely asking because I don't have all the answers here, but I know the solution isn't another ban. And it's not just shrugging and saying, oh, kids will be kids. Before you hand over the e-bike, have the conversation about what freedom actually requires. Don't just say, be careful or wear your helmet. Discuss, who could you hurt? How do you ride when no one's watching? What does it mean to share space with people who might be more vulnerable than you? We do have a problem here. More considerate kids who are being taught by more considerate adults might be part of a solution that works better than the punitive fines and confiscation approach. What are your thoughts? So, Mrs. Happy Families, a brief response from you before we take a break and then come back with our many responses on social media. When you hear that and you think about the problem, what does it bring up for you?
Because of where we live, e-bikes are just everywhere.
We're on the Sunshine Coast. We're in a flat part of the Sunshine Coast, about like a K back from the beach. So they are everywhere.
And our local grocery store is about 100 metres from the beach. So anytime I go down there, I'll be inundated with maybe, 10 or 12 kids at a time on e-bikes.
They're swamping the streets and the footpaths and the entry and exit to and from the shopping centre.
Yeah.
Like you're walking up and down the ramp and there's e-bikes trying to whiz past you.
And there's this friction, like you've shared very eloquently, with feeling grateful that they're out and about and doing, kind of being physical, and you're in my space and you're being a bit of a menace. But the ones that really concern me is there are a handful of boys. It's the same boys, and we have a really, really big major road. It's 3 lanes on each side, and they will be doing wheelies. These are completely deregulated because they're keeping up with the traffic easily. And my biggest concern is their safety and the safety of others around them.
Yeah.
It scares the bejeebies out of me because I don't want to be the person who watches the downfall.
You see this kid get hit by a truck or a car.
Anyone.
Or be the one who hits them.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's
they've,
right. So
because they've
that's
slid out and lost the plot.
For me, outside of the inconvenience, and there is always inconvenience when the kids are involved, it is safety for everybody around them.
What you said coming up after the break on the subject of teenagers and e-bikes. Stay with us. We're back. This is the Happy Families podcast. If you're enjoying the pod, we'd love it if you'd like the pod, share the pod, leave a 5-star rating and review wherever you're listening to the pod. And most important, share it with the people around you. If it makes your family happy or if it gives you food for thought, provokes a few things, please press that forward button and share it with somebody that you think would like it. It's how we get the pod out there and make a difference in the lives of more people. Today, the conversation around kids and e-bikes, lots and lots of comments on social media about this one, which is why we decided to slot it in today. First thing to differentiate here and highlight is a lot of people said, well, we need to differentiate between motorbikes, that is these e-bikes that have a throttle. They've got foot pegs. The kids do a couple of pedals and then they grab that throttle and off they go.
Which is all the rage here.
Correct. Versus what's known as pedal assist. So pedal assist is where, as you're pedaling, the bike gives you a push, like the motor gives you a bit of a nudge. And I want to go further with this. So you when you ride with me, you ride a normal road bike, but sometimes you also ride a bike that has that pedal assist function. And the reason you do that is because I'm riding my pushy at speeds sometimes north of 50 k's an hour along the flat. Like I'm pedaling really hard, and there's just no way you can ride with me. But when you are riding a pedal assist bike, you have to be working your tail off. Your heart rate is exploding so that you can chase me, and the pedal assist,
it's an exercise. I mean, you're literally exercising.
It's exercising, that's right. And I want to make the argument that I think that pedal assist bikes should have less regulation, not more, and they should be treated as a completely different vehicle to these e-bikes
Yeah, I
and
agree.
e-scooters because you use them for different purposes, and you just don't see too many kids on pedal assist bikes who are trying to ride 40 or 50 k's an hour while pedaling their absolute guts out because they're getting their heart rate up and they're exercising. Totally different things. I don't think the governments are going to do anything about that, and they're missing it because people like you are penalised. You're supposed to only be allowed to go 25 k's an hour on the e-bike that we bought you, on the pedal assist bike that we bought you, so that you can ride with us. But if you're riding 25 k's an hour, you can't even ride with me on a regular ride, which kind of goes against the point. Anyway, that's an important distinction. We are talking in this conversation specifically about the motorized bikes where you don't have to pedal, you just have to hold that throttle, off you go. First thing that came up a lot of times, so many people said, you shouldn't be allowed to have one until you've got a license. You're on the road, you're riding around, you need to have a license. I thought, maybe not a bad idea, because a lot of parents say, well, it's good for the kids so that they can get to and from work. It gives them that opportunity. Work often starts at 14 or 15 for a lot of kids, so the license thing isn't quite right. You're nodding your head. You like the idea. You think that sounds reasonable?
I wouldn't be opposed to it, but our kids don't have one, so...
Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah. I got this one came through, and I think it's highlighting in a different way something that you've already said. At the moment, said one parent, we are teaching our 16-year-old to drive a car. He's our third in 4 years, and he has to look out for so much more than my oldest only a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's terrifying when a kid on a scooter or bike flies out of nowhere at speed. My oldest drives a four-wheel drive, is generally a good and careful driver. I'm not saying he's perfect, but he's autistic and follows the rules. And he's told us how he's nearly hit a scooter rider a few times when they suddenly appear on the road or fly through an intersection. My husband's been stopped at an intersection and had a kid ride into the side of the car because he wasn't watching the cars and didn't stop in time. Gave my husband a big fright. He's also a nurse in the ED and has had to look after kids who have been in accidents in them and on them. It's far from a pretty sight.
Not only that, these kids, more times than not, they're not wearing helmets. Like, it's literally a motorbike. And they're going at speeds that is just scary. There's no protection. And yeah, I feel physically ill thinking about the ramifications of something going wrong.
Jennifer Pickles jumped onto the Facebook page and said, we're in favour of them. Our kids are 16 and 14. They share one. They aren't without risks, but the benefits of being off the screens and outside with their mates and being able to go places is great. Agree that the way that some kids ride is unacceptably dangerous to others and themselves, but this has been a good thing for our family. So we got a fair mix. There's a couple of others that are definitely worth highlighting. Here's an angle that was a little bit different. This came from Jen Courtney, who said, I generally agree with your comments. However, my daughter has a part-time job. She purchased her e-bike from a bike shop who assured her it was legal. She had a great deal of freedom having this bike. She didn't run into people or push them off footpaths, but was often abused by pedestrians who didn't like her on her bike. Thank goodness she now has her driver's license and car, which again, she saved for, and doesn't ride the e-bike anymore. But let's stop lumping all the kids in the same basket. Some use that freedom well. And it did make me think, the way that people respond actually aggravates the situation quite often. It makes them even more menacing. And when you've got kids that are doing the right thing, but they're still being told off.
Well, as road riders, you and I mean, the amount of times that we get abused for being on the road because we're just an inconvenience, in spite of the fact that we have every right to be there.
Yeah.
And we're not being menacing. We're literally just going about our own business. The lack of education.
I mean, people just hate people on bikes, right? Drivers, as a general rule.
Yes, and we've had this conversation a handful of times. Like, as a road cyclist, there is actually no safe place to ride except for the middle of the road, because
the middle of the lane.
Yeah. Because to ride on a footpath means that you put pedestrians at risk.
If you're riding at 30 or 40 k's an hour, you can't ride on the footpath. It's just
but that's what I'm saying.
There's driveways
and even shared bike paths. It's really challenging when you've got cyclists who are riding at a good speed, but then to ride on the side of the road with drivers who are inconsiderate puts you at so much risk.
So kids are doing the wrong thing, but let's not pretend that drivers are. I mean, this is both sides and what about doesn't progress arguments, but both sides and what about, right?
Yeah.
Let me read the last one. I want to read two more. I'm going to read the easy one first because I just love it when these comments come through, like this one from Annalisa who says, solid perspective, Justin. It's not really about e-bikes or phones. It's about parenting and the development of self-control. And she just told me that I was awesome. So, Annalisa, I really appreciate that. But the one that I really want to point to right now and spend the end of our pod on comes from somebody who insisted on being anonymous. We are not allowed to talk about who this person is or where they're from. I'm just going to read what they've said, and I'm going to make it even more anonymous than it was when they sent it through. They've said, hello, deep breath. Oh, by the way, this was an email. This did not make it to the socials because they wanted to stay anonymous. My 15-year-old son has an e-bike. He bought a conversion kit from Alibaba with money he had saved from birthdays and an occasional part-time job. He sourced the frame, painted it, ordered foot pegs, light bars, and more. He's not new to riding. He races in mountain bike races and rides dirt bikes when we go camping. He knows how to ride and is experienced. We have felt as parents quite helpless. He's been building and saving for the bike. It's taken him 8 months. The day he got the bike rideable, he broke his toe, stubbed it. I was so happy. I would buy a few more weeks before he could ride it. This was great. And then one day I came home from work early. There he was, a passenger on a mate's e-bike, doing 70 k's an hour in the back streets with no helmet. This parent says, I lost my mind, screamed at him, screamed at his mate. When talking to his mate's mum, they thought I was upset because my son was in a moon boot for his toe. Neither of them realised it was about the danger of riding without a helmet at a minimum, which blows me away, right? Here are these parents who are like, oh, you're upset that he was riding with his... No, he's doing 70 k's without a helmet. Anyway, so some parents are dead set clueless, let's be honest. Nevertheless, she says, our son clearly seeks out risk-taking behaviour, whether it be mountain biking, swinging off the rope at the local quarry. We can take his bike away tomorrow, but it won't stop him making dangerous choices or jumping on a mate's bike. In grade 6, we said he couldn't have TikTok. Thought that conversation was done and dusted until we found out he had TikTok set up on a mate's device. We talk openly about the risks of e-bikes. He had a cousin the same age end her life last year. He's seen firsthand how death destroys a family and the community. It breaks my heart when I read this. She says, we give him opportunities to engage in thrill-seeking behaviour in a safe manner. Competitions, controlled dirt bike riding, wakeboarding, snowboarding. So I don't have an argument either way. We talk about how community is not looking to stamp out good fun, but rather how they're terrified someone's going to die and the likelihood of that happening, and how we're all just desperate that it's not our child. I'm well aware his brain is not mature enough to process all of this and to always make the right choices. So what do? Do I lock him up forever until he's 25? I hate these bikes, but they're here. They'll always find a way to unlock them and get them to go way faster than they need. Instead of banning them, which achieves nothing, how do we find a way to put a structure around them to make it as safe as possible? For example, if you're caught on an e-bike without a helmet and appropriate protective clothing, you'll be fined. And then she goes on to say a couple of other things that I think are really, really important. And then she just says, raising a teenage boy is so damn hard. And I read that and I just thought, this is why this is such a wicked problem. Legislation isn't going to fix it because enforcement's going to be patchy at best. The only thing that we can do is continue to teach our kids. And whether it's e-bikes or whether it's TikTok or whether it's Roblox or whether it's
vaping or
whatever
alcohol
dumb thing. Teenagers always have and teenagers always will want to take risks, post and boast, boost status, look good, or just chase a thrill because, my goodness, it's so much fun. Push boundaries. That's what they do. And we can't legislate against development. So my take on this is let's do our very best to teach them. And I think this is a mum who's getting it right for what it's worth. And let's be a little less judgmental of a bunch of the kids that are out there doing this because most of them are just dumb kids doing dumb things because that's what a lot of kids do. Let's be more considerate, more patient.
As drivers
and community members. And let's just get these kids through this really tricky stage because one day they'll grow up and they will stop riding the e-bikes and they'll drive cars and have red P plates and green P plates. And then we'll have something new to complain about. The Happy Families podcast hopefully gives you plenty to think about. Hopefully this was a provocative one for you. Thanks so much for listening. It's produced by Justin Rowland from Bridge Media. Mim Hammonds provides admin, research and additional support. And for more info about this and other topics, visit us at happyfamilies.com.au.